So, y'all used to this question, right? So what are you doing for the black community? This is what people will try to say to you to deflect your point when they're upset at something you may have said. You might have said something about Cave Jesus, or you may have said something about the sellouts, the anti-black blacks that we have out here amongst us. And people will hit you with that, well, what are you doing? And my thing is, I don't understand a way to answer that question realistically speaking, because there are things that we don't count as a doing in the black community or in the so-called conscious woke community. The fact that I have to, and many of us have to, deal with the amount of fucking coons that we have to deal with is very telling in itself. The amount of people who are here praying to Cave Jesus on a nightly basis or daily basis, to me, us having to fight against our own. The coons that we have to fight against constantly are a direct product of this, of raising non-coons not being something that you can do for the black community. They ain't on the list. Now you got youth centers, and you can open up your own business, and everything that is applied to the black community, as far as we're concerned, involves one black person making some money and possibly opening up the opportunity for other black people to make some money so we can circulate the black dollar within our community. But the issue is that the amount of coons that we have amongst us don't see any logic in that even. There's no logic in that. They weren't raised to see the logic in that. We were raised to care about ourselves, and when shit get rough, pray to Cave Jesus. That's how we were raised. That's how we're continuing to raise our children. So why is it that raising pro-black, non-sheep children doesn't count? Because understand too, sheep hold us back. Because to me, there's one thing to being pro-black, and there's one thing to being a sheep, and there's one thing to being full-blown anti-black. These are different things. You could have somebody who called themselves being pro-black, but their contribution to the conversation is to go vote Democrat. I would argue that those are pro-black sheep. They may feel as though this is the best interest of black folk. They're ignoring all of the data, all of the history that this government had. They really believe they're voting Democrat, like many of y'all did. Y'all got Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, didn't you? Didn't you get them? Okay, they in there, right? But okay, so you pro-black, but you're a Democrat. You pro-black, but you believe you're going to vote out institutional racism. I would argue that, one, you're not pro-black in my personal opinion, but the people will still deem these people pro-black. These motherfuckers are at least sheep. We're dealing with sheep all the time. These sheep allow things in the government to take place that we don't make issues out of. Then you got your full-blown anti-black blacks, right? Who are going to do everything in their power to undermine any of the progress made by the so-called pro-blacks. Any of the issues made by, whether it's police genocide, whether it's privatized prison complex, whether it's being redlined, whether it's school districts, no matter what it is, the anti-black blacks will come through and give anti-black talking points. Ain't nothing wrong with the goddamn school system. The prison system isn't targeting black folk. They just need to, do better and present better, and the cops ain't murdering them and no type of, they just need to comply. They'll do those things, right? You telling me that raising children who are pro-black, who see this government for what it is, does not count to be something that could be done for the black community? That means nothing for the black community? When you look at the greatest master teachers that we had throughout our entire history, they were dealing with a bunch of coons. That's what they were dealing with. It's what we're dealing with right now. It hasn't changed. Nothing changed. Nothing adjusted. We're dealing with a bunch of coons and a bunch of sheeps. And we dealing with coon hybrid sheeps. Like we dealing with goddamn, just these hybrid motherfuckers. Then not only are they coons, they sheep too. Really believe that the government wouldn't inject something into your arm that would be harmful to you. Really believe it. Really believe that someday that some deity, cave Jesus, is gonna part the sky and change the world. These delusions. Sheep. Full-blown sheep. That's what we're dealing with out here. So, why doesn't raising a child that is not coon nor sheep, why does that not matter when it comes to what are you doing for the black community? I can guarantee you that my kids won't be the coons that I have to deal with all the time. I can guarantee you that. My kids won't be the coons that you have to deal with all the time. I can guarantee you that. We're not doing that. My kids won't be those type of coons. And that counts. To me. Outside of, putting your face out here and being about that life. Outside of that. Speaking truth to power. Sacrificing your livelihood and well-being. I mean, this don't count to people. This counts as nothing to people. Even if that doesn't count. There is nothing we're going to get done until we decrease the amount of self-hating ass, anti-black, coon sheep that we have running out here. Ain't nothing going to happen until we decrease that amount. I know it for a fact. I've looked at it. I've tried to see another way that it could happen if we just, don't worry about them. Well, they make up most of us. They make up 99% of us. How'd they get there? Their parents. I guarantee you it was their parents. Now, our parents did it to us too. A lot of us that had to wake up on our own, we're still trying to get our parents to wake up themselves right now. But it's difficult when you raise a certain way. And I don't see why it doesn't count to us to raise non-coons, to raise non-sheep. To me, it's detrimental. It's cost us so much. People who are willing to sell out their people were raised like that. Didn't get any codes, didn't get any rules for engagements, didn't get anything. Do whatever you gotta do to get ahead. That's it. That's all. And now I got to argue with them. You have to argue with them. That's because their parents raised them like that. And because we haven't made it an issue to raise children who are not, blinded by, who are not, got the veil over their eyes, like that's a goal. That's a goal. And it needs to be put on the fucking list. It needs to be put on the list. I'm not saying these other things don't matter. The youth center, the seminars, the, whatever the people going out here doing. Not saying they don't matter. But our kids are being raised as coons by coons. Our kids are being raised as sheep by sheep. That needs to change. And raising a child that is a nonconformist, raising one that is pro-black, understands institutional racism and how it works, understands it's deeper than the Confederate flag, understand it's deeper than some random ass, what y'all call redneck, calling you a nigger. Understand it's deeper than that. Understand that the government does not have your best interests at heart. It will line you up to get a vaccine. that means to do you all types of harm in an effort to line the pockets of Big Farm. This is not a democracy. This is an oligarchy, a plutocracy ran by money. How is it possible that raising a child that understands these things early on not count as something in the black community? How does that not count as something? It's a question. I'm throwing it out here to the black community. I want to know the answers, because I swear people throw this question around just to, you know, they're going to try to take their shots at you by asking these questions, but I would rebut that question. I would answer that question by saying raising non-coons. And that's a big fucking deal. If you really think about it, it's a big deal. I don't think we've made it a big deal enough. Because I had to wait to get mine. I was damn near 30 years old before I got mine. I can only imagine the path and trajectory my life would have taken had I been getting these lessons my whole life. I can only imagine. But y'all comment. If you feel me to comment, because I want real answers. Why don't this shit count? Y'all steady raising, cave worshiping, celebrity following, worshiping, fanatics. You know, don't give a fuck about no black folk, only care about themselves. And these the people y'all talking about supporting black businesses. That shit ain't gonna be important to you. That got to be a code. Do y'all see how these other people raising their kids? They raise them with a code. Even if the code is fucked up, they raise them with a code. That's what we got to do. Why don't that count as anything to us? I could open a school. I could open an all-black, pro-black school, right? I could push to do that. How many black parents gonna send their kid to my school, though? How many black parents won't be like, well, that's racist to have a black school? You know what I mean? Grown folk out here say this type of shit. Your t-shirt racist. What you saying is racist. There are good white folk out here. Why are you talking like that? They were taught to defend the caves. They watched their parents do it, now they following suit. It will be ineffective for us to do much of anything if we're going to keep raising coons, if we're going to keep raising sheep. That's all the fuck I wanted to say, y'all. Shout out Team Rob. Y'all already know what the fuck it is. Black first, second, and third. We see that it's important that we raise our kids to not be as blind as we were. To not have to come through and be woken up. To have had been woke all your life. Come on, man. That should be the mission. To be speaking that truth and giving those lessons to your children to create strong black people. And not strong in a way where we just taking all types of fucking abuse and getting back up. Because that's what we view our strength. Oh, that motherfucker is strong as hell. Oh, they strong. They resilient. Because we take abuse and keep smiles on our fucking faces. No, not that type of strength. No, I'm going to stand for my people. Rain, sleet, hail, snow. I'm going to stand for my people. And I will not cower. And I will not be afraid. And I will not seek white acceptance. That's what we need to be teaching our children. And to me, that counts as to what you're doing in the black community. If you're doing that, that counts. Period. I'm out.